All right, we're live. Welcome in to another episode of the real_G Warner and betting the pitch. You can find me on Twitter, the real_G Warner, as probably said. And in true podcast fashion, I'm going to have to quiet my refrigerator door, which didn't open and is beeping. So without further ado, hopefully that solved everything. Let's go in and start going through this week's Champions League, Europa League, Europa Conference League slate midweek because soccer season's still rip-roaring ahead, and we got some good matches today and really this week. I think the lower competitions have been really entertaining, probably a lot more than Champions League. So without further ado, we'll go where the money begins, and that is Bayern Munchen hosting Villarreal. Villarreal with a shock 1-0 victory at home in the first leg puts them in really good position to try their best to play another defensive 90 minutes and try to keep Bayern Munchen off the scoreboard. Clearly 0-0 gets Villarreal through. 1-0, and they're in trouble, but hanging on for dear life and probably trying to push it to extra time, which I think is a good result for Villarreal, and it's probably what they're shooting for if they can't win in regulation. And when you see Bayern Munchen as a 2-goal favorite, that does give Villarreal and me some interest. Back to Villarreal in the first leg. Not sure that was 100% a victory all the time, but it was pretty dominant, controlled, and really liked what I saw from Unai Emery, who seems to be awesome at setting up a team that will really keep a good opposition quiet. And they got a goal off a pretty cool redirect or deflection on purpose, but still probably wasn't initially intended by the initial shot. And Manuel Neuer couldn't do anything to stop it. Now, Villarreal didn't play well this weekend, but rotated almost the entire team, including playing Serge Aurier at center back, which is, I think, showed how much Unai Emery cared about that matchup this weekend against Atletico, or excuse me, against Athletic Club. Ended up drawing after falling behind 1-0 and honestly had some good fits of play, even without their best players in there. So, meanwhile, Bayern were pretty disappointing, I think is the way to call it, at home against Augsburg in a revenge match that clearly they were looking ahead to this matchup knowing they had to overturn a deficit. Now, 1-0, a loss on the road isn't that big of a deal for Bayern. We saw from a 1-1 draw on the road coming back against Salzburg that they ended up winning 7-2 or something like that on an aggregate, maybe 7-1 in the second leg. So Bayern are certainly a team that can score a ton of goals. We've seen that. Though I do think that a lot of times happens against teams that are going to try to score with them. And I think Villarreal are going to sit back and try to counterattack and are going to play a very intelligent and measured brand of football. Now, at 1-0, Villarreal are still holding on for extra time. At 2-0, they're pushing forward knowing they need a goal. And that's going to be a little bit more difficult if you're taking the +2 goals on Villarreal. But at the same time, Bayern have to get 3 to beat you at the very least. And if Villarreal get 1, you're in pretty good shape to cover that +2, I think. And I don't think Bayern's defense is anywhere close to a defense that you think is going to guarantee a clean sheet, even at home. Villarreal getting that full goal of insurance, or that second full goal of insurance, is of great interest to me because I think 1-0 Bayern or 2-1 and heading to extra time is a realistic scenario. And then you might have to survive the last few minutes to stoppage time, but very possible that those two teams are both shutting up shop, knowing that they don't want to lose it in the end of regulation. And Bayern probably is a big favorite at home, think that they would survive in extra time with a better team, probably puts you in a good position on that Villarreal +2. Moving on to Real Madrid hosting Chelsea, currently a pick'em. Real Madrid with, I guess, getting odds. So all the juice on Chelsea on the road, and it should be because they lost 3-1 in the first leg at home and have to win by 2 goals to get this one moving to extra time themselves. Real Madrid are in a great position where they can sit back and counter, which I think is what they want to do. They don't really have that option in most La Liga games because they're have to be on the front foot because everyone's doing that to them. Chelsea with a huge goal scoring performance this weekend, kind of out of nowhere. Didn't see that one coming, certainly, as I was pretty interested in Southampton all week, but luckily didn't play it. I don't know, like certainly, I guess the issue here, if you're back in Real Madrid, at pick'em, is they have to win this match for you to win. If they're an underdog, getting a quarter if this line gets up there. But this afternoon, I'm recording this on Tuesday afternoon here in Dallas, Texas. Maybe there's some interest or more interest in backing Real Madrid, though. If they lose 1-0 here, for example, they're moving on and will still probably be in that defensive mindset. So I really think at Pick'em, I have very little interest in Real Madrid. At a quarter, I have some, but really not enough. I don't think either, because it really doesn't suit them to push forward for goals and to try to draw this match. So I picked no interest. And I got to say, I don't really have much interest in Chelsea either, unless they became an underdog, and I don't think that'll happen. So looks like Villarreal are nothing for me in Champions League today. Moving on to Wednesday, we'll go to, and I guess before we go to Wednesday, I might as well go through the two advanced numbers. All lines current as of Bet Online, or at least as current as my last refresh a few minutes ago before this podcast started. Currently, Villarreal a plus 230 underdog to advance. So $100 wins you 230. Bayern, on the other hand, minus 300. So $300 to win 100. I think that Villarreal are in a really good position to advance. Clearly, off the 1-0 win at home. I don't think that I'd want to bet that, though, because I do think that Bayern probably do advance in extra time, and they might not even get there if they win handily, as this line would suggest. On the other hand, Real Madrid, $1,000 wins you 100 to back them to advance. Chelsea are 6-1 odds, so big long shot for Chelsea to advance here, and I don't think that they can do it. Moving to Wednesday, Atletico Madrid hosting Manchester City. Currently, Atleti a 3/4 goal underdog at home with a 1-0 deficit. So interesting to see them as a sizable underdog, considering, I mean, they were 1.5 goal dogs, I think, in the first leg, which covered as they only lost by a single goal. Had no shots on target, or no shots for the whole game, which is pretty incredible that they were able to hang in and cover the spread, though I'm thankful for that. Man City with the big match this weekend. They played Liverpool this past weekend. They also have Liverpool this weekend in the FA Cup, I believe. So crazy run of fixtures for them, but have a pretty serious match here in midweek in the east side of Madrid. The Wanda should be pretty electric, as it was when I was there for Liverpool earlier this season. I think from where I sit, I think Atleti as an underdog player, I'm interested in getting that 3/4. But when you actually think about how the match will go, Man City, a goalless draw, they go through as they had the 1-0 victory at home. I don't think that they're going to be comfortable with that. And I don't think that they're going to be a team that's going to be sitting back and letting you counterattack, letting you possess the ball, letting Atleti possess the ball. Because Manchester City, they live they play 9 midfielders, it feels like, and they have the ball at their feet all the time, and they are pushing forward, trying to score at all times. That makes me a little nervous backing Atleti, who need to push forward to score goals, at least one to level up the aggregate. Only getting 3/4 of a goal and having all the juice makes me think it's not going to hit that full +1, which is probably what I'd want on Atleti, because that would at least cover them pushing forward and going a goal behind. Though ultimately, once they go 1 behind, there's a very good chance they go behind by 2. I would expect Simeone's game plan to be to sit back and try to counterattack, frustrate Man City, and I think that's a reasonable position to take for this matchup. Without getting that +1, I think I'll probably skip. Man City is currently a 1-9 odds-on favorite to advance. Atleti at 5.5 to 1. Certainly could happen, but Atleti need that first goal to then square it up and then try to get maybe lucky or send it to a penalty shootout in extra time. I think that's going to be a bridge too far for them. Next is Liverpool, a 1.75 goal favorite to Benfica. Liverpool with a good start, but then conceding right after halftime before they got a late kind of garbage time goal to go up 3-1. Benfica's defense, and I'm not sure what Otamendi was doing, but that's part of why he's not Man City anymore. And the aged Benfica back line, stories can be written about that, sure. And I think they'll have a tough time at Anfield today. Seeing Benfica and what they need to do. So losing the first leg 3-1 on aggregate, they're going to have to try to score goals. I don't think that that's a really good mixture, because they're a defensive side from Portugal that wants to play and counterattack you. I don't think that they can get 2 goals doing that against Liverpool. So they might have to come out, and that just sounds like a really tough recipe for them to try to stick around and advance. So that seems like a tough thing. Certainly, they could lose by 2 goals, and you only lose half a bet, so not the worst thing in the world. But I think even hanging around and losing 1-0 seems fairly unlikely because they're going to have to be pushing for goals. We'll be on the front foot the whole time. I don't think that this is a moral victory type situation. I think if they lost 1-0, yeah, it would cover the spread, but I don't think that would do anything for the club. So I think they're going to be guns blazing, trying to score goals, and that's a scary, scary combination when you're facing Liverpool and they're on the road. Though I guess they could be looking past to the past weekend against Man City or forward to the FA Cup. But I think Liverpool is taking this really seriously. They want to win all 4 competitions or whatever they're in. Jurgen Klopp is going to play probably a good lineup, maybe not his strongest, but I don't know that Benfica is the side that I want to back. So that covers Champions League. Moving now to Europa League on Thursday. The early match is Atalanta hosting RB Leipzig. 1-1 in the first leg. Atalanta took a lead early on a great goal from Luis Muriel, and then Leipzig came back, tied it, and I think Atalanta played better despite being on the road in Germany. Now they get it at home. It's currently a pick'em with more juice on Leipzig, and I think it's based on how Atalanta have been playing, which is not well for a while now. Currently, the 2 advanced line is Leipzig are even odds despite being more heavily juiced on pick'em, which is interesting to me. I wouldn't make Atalanta the favorite here, really. So that's definitely something I might want to look into. Leipzig are a really deep team. They've got a lot of great players in their offense. They want to stay in the middle and really try to force you and go on quick counterattacks, which I think works really well against Atalanta, who really are a side that want to possess the ball and push forward and use their wing backs, which their wing backs are pretty much in the box as much as they can. That puts them in a tough position to defend. And I think Leipzig can really strike and kind of put them in a bad position there. Again, doesn't really make sense to me. I realize that Leipzig are on the road and likely at a pick'em, they're expecting this line this match to go to extra time. And maybe that's when Atalanta home field advantage flips over. But I don't think that's enough for me. So I'm interested in that Leipzig to advance line at even money because I don't think they should be the underdog there, especially when they're favored in regulation, albeit slightly. Moving on to Lyon hosting West Ham, another 1-1 in the first leg. Lyon played better and honestly had a huge advantage because West Ham were down to 10 men at the end of the first half, but it somehow took a lead off a good deflection and some good pressing, I guess, from West Ham. Lyon fired back, got an equalizer, and then probably deserved more than that. Should have scored, I think, a bunch of times. West Ham were heaving and hawing, or hemming and hawing, whatever you call it. And in this situation, West Ham, though, is a half a goal underdog on the road. It's pretty much a reverse line to what Lyon were in London. And West Ham will be missing Cresswell due to that red card. Not a huge loss for them, can be replaced. But I guess offensively, he's a set piece taker and pretty important. I think does corners and as a left back is fairly important in that way. I think they can sustain his loss defensively, but offensively it maybe is an issue. And West Ham's offense is certainly not their strong suit. I think they're really a set piece team that plays good defense, that tries to counterattack, which does fit them pretty well here going on the road to Lyon. Lyon are a good, really talented French side. Don't get a lot of respect, and I think the first round, seeing them as a half a goal underdog on the road. Yes, the red card helped, but I feel like they were in good position and were playing better, I think, than West Ham even before the red card happened. But they have to take the initiative here, at least according to the betting line. And at home, crowd should be great, but West Ham are pretty familiar with going on the road and playing defensively, and I think that puts them in a pretty good position to hang around with Lyon, and a draw that goes to extra time would win you a full bet on West Ham. Currently getting a half fully juiced and have all the juice right now. Maybe it's going to trend down to a quarter. I think even at a quarter, I'm still have some interest in West Ham. So currently at the half of a goal, I'm interested. And a 2 advanced line, we have West Ham as a 150 underdog, so 1.5 to 1. So Lyon, did what you needed to do in the first leg to take, I guess, a stalemate back home. And that puts them in a good position to advance here. And I probably would tip them as the favorite to advance if it goes to extra time. And currently, obviously, the goal spread has it that way. But looking to West Ham, and we'll see if that's of interest to me on Thursday afternoon. Rangers then hosting Sporting Braga. Currently, Rangers a half a goal favorite at home. After losing the first leg 1-0, and Sporting Braga looked in control for almost the whole time. I think Rangers, their defense didn't look very good based on, I think, playing Celtic the weekend before. So that was a kind of a tough position for them to be in, and they're going to have to go all out for this one to try to win this match. And I got to say, Sporting Braga were impressive, maybe a little bit more impressive than they should have looked because they were playing against the reserves, or at least not the full complement that Rangers can put out there. I do think Sporting Braga getting half of a goal is of interest to me because all the pressure is going to be on Rangers. Sporting can sit back and defend and try to counterattack. And I do think that that's kind of the Portuguese style, or at least within the Portuguese league, is to play that way. So they should be pretty comfortable. I think their defense has been pretty good throughout this competition when I've watched them. So getting half is of interest to me. And in terms of two advanced numbers, Sporting is a minus 165 favorite. Rangers getting 1.5, nearly 1.5 to 1 to advance. And I think it's going to be tough for them to kind of turn this around, though. Certainly at home in Scotland with a big crowd behind you, maybe that's a little bit easier than I'm giving them credit for. Though I do think that UK sides generally get overpriced a lot in the soccer betting market. Barcelona then hosting Eintracht in our last Europa League matchup. We'll still go through the Conference League after this, but it'll probably be a little bit briefer. 1-1 in the first leg. Eintracht, I think, were better and deserved better, but only could take a 1-1 draw, not a victory, maybe moral victory, but 1-1 on aggregate, heading to Barcelona. Not great. Frankfurt probably needed better. And I think what they're going to do here is try to defend as much as they can. Oliver Glasner is a defensive-minded manager, and that's going to be what Eintracht Frankfurt do, especially missing Tucha, I believe, to a red card suspension as he took 2 yellows. So it went from Frankfurt playing well and really controlling a matchup against Barcelona to then hanging on for dear life. So maybe that 1-1 was a good result for them, and they feel a little bit more confident because they were able to escape and kind of hold Barca. Now, Barcelona this weekend played terribly at Getafe. Really didn't have a lot of answers for anything that they were doing. I'm not sure what to say about that in general, but was not good. Would imagine they bounced back pretty well here because they were doing a lot of rotating, didn't play some of their better midfielders till the second half. I think Frankfurt in this situation, they're going to try to keep this as tight as possible. And Frankfurt getting a goal in a quarter means that if they lose by a goal and are eliminated, they can still take home half a bet with you, which is nice, and certainly can never turn my nose up to profitable bets. I think I probably want to wait till 1.5, and I believe that this will get there because Barcelona currently has most of the juice at Bet Online, and they get bet like more than almost any club that are out there. I do have some concerns about Frankfurt because that means that Hinteregger has to play. He has not had a good season. Hasebe probably comes in, who's like 40 years old, Japanese player. And so that's going to be a struggle for them. And I wonder about Frankfurt's offense. It doesn't really seem to be that good. Now, Barcelona's defense definitely has holes, is porous, has a lot of problems. I'm not sure what the status of Gerard Piqué will be for this one. So lean the dog, especially over a goal. But I think Frankfurt are going to try to play defense for 90 minutes, and that's going to be really tough to do against a Barca side that are used to that in La Liga and don't really have to worry about a Eintracht Frankfurt goal threat unless Kostic gets, I guess, loose down the line. Which I'm not even sure that he's been really feeding as much to because they don't really have the tall striker in the middle this year. Now, moving to the Conference League, last but not least, we have PSV Eindhoven hosting Leicester. Currently, Eindhoven a half a goal favorite at home. PSV will have a huge crowd behind them, certainly, but Leicester getting a half of a goal here as a much bigger club that are playing a lot better and kind of look like they weren't playing their studs on the weekend. Is something that makes me want to look towards Leicester because they're getting healthier. Fofana's a huge return to their center backs. Maybe Vardy plays here, doubt it, but and really tough to rely on him anyway. But getting half of a goal from a Dutch league team definitely makes me interested in the Premier League side, though I probably should take that with a grain of salt because that's probably the side that a lot of people are going to be backing, and it's this high for a reason. Roma then hosting Bodo Glimt after losing 2-1 in the first leg. Leicester Eindhoven was 0-0 in the first, so everything to play for in that one. But Roma with a 2-1 loss at Bodo Glimt, I think in Norway. Very surprising, but currently a 1.25 goal favorite at home with all the juice, likely climbing to 1.5. Bodo Glimt they're doing so well in this competition, and clearly they're taking it seriously and are the minnow against everyone they're playing, but have been really good. I I just don't know that Roma, when they need to score goals, that Bodo Glimt can really keep them off the scoreboard. So probably one of those that I wouldn't begrudge anybody for playing Bodo Glimt for here, because hanging around and losing 1-0 going to extra time will probably pay you a full bet when this one hits 1.5. And I guess that's the way I lean. I just don't know that I want to play that, because I think this could get ugly, because Roma know they have to go out there and win, and they might be able to do that. Slavia Prague then hosting Feyenoord, 3-3 first leg after a crazy game with a late equalizer from Slavia Prague. Currently a pick'em with all the juice on Feyenoord on the road, who were one goal favorite first leg. So it went from drawing to pushing right at the end, which would have been a good number. And I was close to playing Slavia Prague, but I didn't do it. Kind of a big switch in the numbers here, I got to say. Even if this climbs to a quarter, it seems like Slavia Prague, based on that performance, and they were in it and could have won the match, certainly, when we scored 3 goals, obviously, but I think they took a couple leads in that one. And I think from where I sit with Slavia Prague, it feels like you're getting them, if you're backing them here, they're a little bit cheaper than they were in the first leg, clearly. But even when you flip home fields, it seems like they're short this price. So it makes sense to me that Feyenoord has all the juice right now at pick'em. Probably does hit a quarter, and I'd lean to the home team, Slavia Prague, but I'm not sure that they're on the same level. It feels like you're kind of not getting the best price that you could get based on that first leg's pricing initially. A little bit of an overreaction to that first one being a lot closer than I think the experts expected or the market expected. And last but not least, we'll go PAOK, Greek side, hosting Marseille. 2-1 losers in the first one, or Marseille won 2-1 at home. Currently, PAOK, a quarter goal, PAOK maybe. I'll do that from now on. That's, I think, how you pronounce it now that I think about it. But PAOK, a quarter goal underdog at home. Not really a big number, and feels like a pretty big change from the 1.25 it was when Marseille played last time. Marseille played pretty well this weekend, and they're as much as I want to say, and missing Arkadiusz Milik, they've been playing really well lately. I don't know that I want to back a Greek side in that situation. And one thing I forgot to go over with the Europa League was that 2 advanced line for Barcelona. Currently, they're 1-6 on favorites to advance. Eintracht Frankfurt at 4-1 underdog. I think that's going to be really hard for Frankfurt to move on. So that covers the Champions League, the Europa League, and the Europa Conference League. Can't forget that one, because that's so important to everybody out there, I know, even as a third-rate competition in Europe. Thanks, everyone, for watching. I'm the real_G Warner on Twitter. Feel free to hit me up there, or on StreamYard, on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, where we are now, anywhere you want to look. Thanks for watching and listening, or whatever you're doing, and we'll see you soon.
Recording stopped.